Hi, I'm Amber,
And I'm Kirsten.
and you're listening to
Lurking in the Shadows. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back to another episode.
Yes, another. Damn, we're done with the spooky season. This is sad.
We are. We're in the middle of November now.
Damn, I'm sad about it. Still,
Yeah.
I bet
It went so
Patreon
fast.
is still sad.
Yeah. It's technically still here as we're speaking, but it is going to be over any
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah, literally, we're about to blink and it's going to be over.
Mm-hmm. So when you're listening to this, I am depressed.
I'm slowly getting ready for Thanksgiving. So
Today is going to be kind of a brutal case. I'm going to be talking about the brutal murder of Colleen Slemmer in January 1995, who was killed by a jealous classmate named Christa Gail Pike.
oh, so classmates, rivals, boys involved.
Yeah. And not even really.
No?
It was all in this girl's head.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the one you did in the True Crime and the Dime where they made something out of nothing, really.
Yeah. Yep, this will be the same thing.
Bitches, man.
I know. Colleen Slemmer was born on September 20th, 1975. Well, I read some conflicting reports. One said Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And then another one, I don't even remember what state it said. I think it said Florida. Like Jacksonville, Florida or something. So I don't know which one's correct. Either way, her mom, May Martinez, was described Colleen as being very active. She'd run marathons, she roller skated every weekend, and was a computer geek. She babysat and loved to do anything with kids, probably because her mom ran a daycare for over 40 years. She was attending a career training program in computer science in Knoxville, Tennessee called Job Corps, and was living at the campus. This was like a trade school that offered other classes such as culinary arts and nursing and helped you find a job once you graduated. In my research, I found that Job Corps students are often low-income 16 to 24-year-olds and are often like troubled teens or high school dropouts. But I didn't find anything about Colleen being any of those. I think she was simply there just for the computer science program.
It's probably, I mean, the way you're describing it, it probably also was like a good price for a program type of thing.
Yeah. Probably like, kind of like YTI or something we have up here maybe.
Yeah.
Christa Gail Pike, however, was a very troubled teen. Christa Pike was born prematurely on March 10, 1976, to Carissa Hanson and Emil Glenn Pike in Beckley, West Virginia. Her mother was sadly an alcoholic, so Christa had fetal alcohol syndrome and would sometimes have seizures, and it also affected her frontal lobe development, which regulates impulses, personality, and behavior.
Oh, I mean,
Sadly,
that's another aspect of people who are committing crimes. We always talk about like head injuries, but this is another case where it's a different kind of injury to your brain, but again, something that messes with your brain.
Yeah. And, well, we will get into it more, but it said that she was very smart.
Well, good.
Sadly, because her parents dealt with addiction, they had a tumultuous relationship, and she was raised in poverty. Pike was neglected by her parents, and as an infant, an aunt observed her crawling through piles of dog feces in the home.
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, why this aunt did not report the neglect, I don't know. Pike was also subjected to both physical and sexual abuse from her father, maternal grandmother, and several of her mother's boyfriends, including one boyfriend who was charged with assault for punching Christa in the face. Following the assault, Christa was removed from her home by Children's Services but returned home after only 3 months with minimal follow-up. So yay for the state doing its job.
Failed system, man. Yeah. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Christa lived with her paternal grandmother for a time and believed this grandmother was the only person who ever loved her. After the death of that grandmother in 1988, Christa attempted suicide at the age of only 12. I also found conflicting reports of whether it was her maternal or paternal grandmother that she lived with, because in court documents it says paternal, but then there's like a page, a website for Christa that said maternal. But I'm just going to go with what the court documents said.
Yeah, I would say the court documents probably are the most accurate, I would say.
Yeah. Christa developed bipolar disorder and suffered from post-traumatic stress syndrome as a result of her abuse, but she never received the appropriate treatment. Instead, she was punished for acting out. Even after she was treated for her suicide attempt, her parents did not take her to follow-up appointments. She began smoking marijuana by age 9 and developed a dependency on alcohol and marijuana by age 12.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's terrible. After her grandmother died, Christa was shuffled back and forth between her mother in North Carolina and her father in West Virginia, and by the time she obtained her GED in 1993, Christa had changed schools 12 times.
12 times?
Mm-hmm.
But she got her GED?
Yeah, she did.
Good on her for at least getting the GED.
Mm-hmm. Then in 1994, Christa enrolled in the Job Corps training program in Knoxville, Tennessee, where she was studying to become a nurse, sadly like her mother.
Oh. Her mother was a nurse?
Yeah, she was an LPN.
Oh my God.
Yep, and abusing her child and an alcoholic. Yep.
And the child's walking through feces. Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm. So yeah, I even put in my notes, like, which is very concerning that someone like her mother was a nurse. But,
yeah.
you know.
I guess you never really know who's taking care of you.
Yeah. Christa and Colleen were in the same orientation class at Job Corps. Christa was loud and outgoing and made a lot of friends, but was also described as having a mean girl side to her. She thrived on popularity and was said to be intelligent. She met a guy named Tadaryl Shipp, who was also a Job Corps student, and they began dating. He was tall, had a lot of friends, was active, and described as a cool guy, but he got into fights and would radiate anger whenever he was mad. He also claimed to be a Satanist. Friends of Christa's at the time said she didn't seem like the type who would be into that, but she embraced it when she was with him. And then Colleen was described as being quiet but friendly. One day, Colleen was walking down the hall and waved at Tadaryl because he was an acquaintance, and Christa either found out or saw it and assumed Colleen was trying to steal her boyfriend.
Oh no, this is where it starts.
Because she waved at him.
Yes, this is where they start. She's going to start like making up a story in her head.
Yep. And all the other, I watched a YouTube little documentary short from Investigative Discovery, and there's like former classmates that were talking on there, and they were saying that she wasn't into him.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Like they insisted Colleen was not interested in Tadaryl or even really dating in general.
Yeah, she probably was just being a nice person, wanting to be a friend or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, how's it going type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Christa confronted Colleen and told her to stay away from Tadaryl and started spreading fake rumors about her and would call her names whenever she saw her.
Man, I don't miss one thing about school.
Oh, I know.
That's exactly what it's like, man. They just rumors start flying. You open your mouth, gossip.
Yep. Yeah, it's, yeah, I don't miss it either.
Yeah.
On Investigation Discovery, they also former classmates of hers said that Colleen never acted inappropriately towards Tadaryl. After a few weeks, Colleen confronted Christa, saying she doesn't want her boyfriend and isn't into guys like Tadaryl. And of course, Christa took that the wrong way because Tadaryl is black. And then she started spreading rumors that Colleen is a racist.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Christa even went to Colleen's dorm room once and trashed it and stole from her. Although Christa didn't exactly come forward saying she did it, but she was involved with whoever she got to do it. So it's unclear if Christa did it herself or if she got someone else to do that for her. But either way, she was involved with the trashing of Colleen's dorm.
Well, and also they can't.
And this was the last straw for Colleen. Yeah.
They can't. Yeah,
probably wasn't cameras in the 90s.
No, they couldn't prove who exactly was doing it, but she knew like who's like starting shit with her type of thing.
Yeah. And that was the last straw for Colleen. She reported the bullying to staff, knowing it would likely get Colleen kicked out of the program, or get Christa kicked out of the program, because she had already been in trouble multiple times for things like fighting, skipping class, and being into Daryl's room after hours. The disciplinary board investigated and told Christa she'd reached her last strike. Any other issues and she's done with the program. So this obviously made Christa even more angry with Colleen.
Yeah, because snitches.
And all this happened.
Man.
Yeah.
But I'm just kidding. Like, she should have went, like, leave me alone, bitch. I didn't even start anything with you. I waved at your man. Like, how about you?
Colleen did nothing wrong.
Yeah, like, go work on yourself, girlfriend. Like, we can do a little bit better here. Take your man. Leave me alone, and I promise you I will not. I'm not even here to disturb your relationship, so that's why is she wasting her time?
Yeah, she's literally just keeping to herself, going to her classes, and she's being tormented.
Yeah.
All of this happened shortly before Christmas break, and it was said that Christa came back to the campus a nicer, changed person. She would wave at Colleen and make it seem as though they were friends again.
Oh, wow. When was
January 12th,
a Gemini? A Two-Faced?
Maybe. Yeah, when was... I don't know. What did I say she was born?
I didn't catch it.
Christa was born March 10th.
Oh, I don't know what March is.
Brandon's the 19th, and he's a Pisces.
It probably is Pisces, because I'm Aquarius, which is right before. And that ends at the end of February. So Pisces. Yeah. Okay. Crazy Pisces.
On January 12th, 1995, Christa found Colleen on the campus and asked her if she wanted to pick out a movie with her at Blockbuster. Good old Blockbuster days.
Nostalgia.
I remember going there, and I would always, me and Tara would always rent, well, now I can't think of the name of it. It's a Goosebumps movie. A Day at Horrorland or whatever.
Okay. We always went and saw something, like, whatever was new. Like, we'd go get something new. We usually get two. Like, Mom and Dad would get a film for them, and then the kids would get to pick out theirs, and then we always got to pick out a thing of candy, and I'd always get Sour Punch straws.
Oh, I love Sour Punch straws.
Yeah. And then every once in a while, Dad would give me a quarter to get a quarter gumball. Out of the big gumball machine. Do you remember the big gumball machine in Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Being a kid in the 90s was the greatest.
It was. It was pretty good.
Anytime you leave the campus, you have to sign out and then sign back in when you return. Around 8 p.m., Christa, Tadaryl, Colleen, and a friend of Christa's named Shadolla Peterson, who was 18 years old, all signed out. The four of them proceeded towards the woods where an abandoned steam plant sat near the University of Tennessee campus, telling Colleen they wanted to make peace by offering her some marijuana. This was not true, though. This was all a ruse created to attack Colleen. I'm going to give a trigger warning now because this is a very brutal attack, so viewer discretion is advised. Kim Iloilo, who was a friend of Christa's and a student at the facility, stated in court documents that she witnessed Christa, Tadaryl, Shadolla, and Colleen walking away from Job Corps towards 17th Street, but only saw Christa, Tadaryl, and Shadolla return around 10:15 p.m. and did not see Colleen at that time. And I'm going to read directly from the Christa Gail Pike versus the State of Tennessee court documents to go into detail about what happened. So later that same night, Colleen went to... No, not Colleen. Let me go back up. These two names are too similar.
Yeah, you're doing great though. Let me tell you how many times in my head I keep going back and forth who's who. I'm like, Colleen,
I know.
the
Krista's
good.
bad, Colleen good.
Yeah, Colleen's a good one. Chris is a bad one.
Yeah. Okay. Later that night, Christa went to Iloilo's room and told Iloilo that she had just killed Slemmer and that she had brought back a piece of the victim's skull as a souvenir. Christa showed Iloilo the piece of the skull and told her that she had cut the victim's throat 6 times, beaten her, and thrown asphalt at the victim's head.
Wow. Okay. You gave the warning. I wasn't prepared. This took off really fast.
Yeah,
and
we're going to go into some worse detail later, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and this is witness statement from...
In court, yep.
Okay. All right. Wow. A piece of the skull. That's a souvenir to take.
Apparently.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I never heard of such a thing. I don't know. Christa told Iloilo that the victim had begged them to stop cutting and beating her, but Christa did not stop because the victim continued to talk. Christa told Iloilo that she had thrown a large piece of asphalt at the victim's head, and when it broke into smaller pieces, she had thrown those at the victim as well. Christa told Iloilo that a meat cleaver had been used to cut the victim's back, and a box cutter had been used to cut her throat. Finally, Christa said that a pentagram had been carved onto the victim's forehead and chest.
Wow, these are some sick motherfuckers.
Yeah. Iloilo said that Christa was dancing in a circle, smiling and singing la 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 while she related these details about the murder.
Wow.
Yeah. When Iloilo saw Christa at breakfast the next morning, she asked Christa what she had done with the piece of the victim's skull. Christa replied that it was in her pocket and then said, quote, "And yes, I'm eating breakfast with it," end quote.
All right, well, what kind of Ed Gain shit is this?
I don't know.
And I'm laughing because, like, this is wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Unhinged.
She must have just snapped.
Yeah, and why are you telling someone all of this?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that she's not there. She just snapped. She's not in the right mind because she's dancing around, fa la la.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we just went playing in the snow or something.
Mm-hmm. During a class later that morning, Christa made a similar statement to Stephanie Wilson, another Job Corps student. Christa pointed to brown spots on her shoes and said, "That ain't mud on my shoes, that's blood."
I don't understand what the end game is here also, because, like, you're not, like, if you're trying to get away with something, you're not doing doing a real bad job at it. So I don't know. I don't understand if she's, like, begging to be caught here, just wants the attention. You think, like, pointing these things out, you're just gonna get to keep living your life?
Yeah, she's very delusional right now.
Yes, I was gonna say, it's definitely, in her head. Like I said, she had to have just snapped or something.
Yeah. Christa then pulled a napkin from her pocket and showed Wilson a piece of bone, which Christa said was a piece of Colleen's skull. Christa also told Wilson that she had slashed Slemmer's throat 6 times and had beaten her in the head with a rock. Christa told Wilson that the victim's blood and brains had been pouring out and that she had picked up the piece of skull when she left the scene.
Wow.
Though neither Iloilo nor Wilson immediately reported Christa's statements to police, On the day after the murder, January 13th, at approximately 8:05 a.m., an employee of the University of Tennessee Grounds Department discovered Colleen's semi-nude, slashed, and badly beaten body near the ground houses on the agricultural campus. He testified that the body was so badly beaten that he had first mistaken it for the corpse of an animal. But upon closer inspection, he saw the victim's clothes and her nude breast and realized it was the body of a human female, and he immediately notified law enforcement officials.
How long was she there? Was like the next day or?
Yeah, overnight.
Okay. So yeah,
and there are actually pictures of her on Google.
Well, my morbid curiosity will get the best of me. Damn it. I hate
Yeah.
myself.
So viewer discretion advised, but yeah, there are pictures of her. Officers from the Knoxville Police Department and the University of Tennessee Police Department were summoned to the scene. Officer John Terry Johnson testified at trial that the body he found was lying on debris and was nude from the waist up. Blood and dirt covered the body and the remaining clothing. The victim's head had been bludgeoned. Multiple cuts and slashes appeared on her torso. Officer Johnson stated that he thought he was looking at the victim's face, but he could not be sure because it was extremely mutilated. Johnson removed all civilians from the area and secured the scene. As officers discovered other areas of blood, articles of clothing, footprints, and broken foliage, the crime scene tripled in size. The crime scene was wet and muddy, and there was evidence of a struggle with trampled bushes, hand and knee prints in the mud, and drag marks. A large pool of blood was found about 30 feet from the victim's body.
So she fought 30 feet from the victim's body. There wasn't drag marks?
There was, yeah.
Oh, there were drag marks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The victim's body was actually lying face down on a pile of debris. When officers turned the body over, they discovered that the victim's throat had been slashed. A bloody rag was around her neck. Detective Donald R. Cook of the UT Police Department accompanied the body to the morgue. He observed the body after it had been cleaned and noticed that a 5-point star in a circle, commonly known as a pentagram, had been carved onto the victim's chest. Randy York, a criminal investigator with the Knoxville Police Department, began investigating this case on January 13th, the day the body was discovered. York separately interviewed the defendant and Shipp at the Knoxville, Tennessee Police Department on January 14th, and Shipp is Tadaryl Shipp. Investigator York advised Christa of her Miranda rights, but she chose to waive them and make a statement. Christa explained in full detail how the killing had occurred. Christa's statement was tape recorded and transcribed in 46 pages. Copies of the transcript were given to the jury, and the jurors were allowed to listen to the tape through individual headphones.
Did you listen to any of it?
No, but I'm going to read it.
Okay.
In her statement, Christa said that she and Colleen had been having problems for some time. Christa claimed to have awakened one night to find Colleen standing over her with a box cutter. Christa told investigator York that Colleen had been trying to get her boyfriend and had been running her mouth everywhere. Christa said that Colleen had deliberately provoked her because Colleen realized that Christa would be terminated from the Job Corps program the next time she became involved in a fight or similar incident. Christa claimed that she had not planned to kill Colleen, but she had instead planned only to fight her and let her know to leave me the hell alone. However, Christa admitted that she had taken a box cutter and a miniature meat cleaver with her when she and the victim left the Job Corps Center. Christa said she borrowed the miniature meat cleaver, but refused to identify who had loaned it to her. According to Christa, she asked Colleen to accompany her to Blockbuster, and as they were walking, Christa told Colleen she had a bag of weed hidden in Tyson Park. Though Christa refused to name the other parties involved in the incident, she said the group began walking toward the UT campus. Upon arriving at the steam plant on UT's agricultural campus, Christa and Colleen exchanged words. Christa then began hitting Colleen and banging her head on her knee. Christa threw Colleen to the ground and kicked her repeatedly. According to Christa, as she slammed Colleen's head against the concrete, Colleen repeatedly asked, "Why are you doing this to me?" When Colleen threatened to report Christa so she would be terminated from the Job Corps program, Christa again repeatedly kicked Colleen in the face and the side. Colleen laid on the ground and cried for a time and then tried to run away, but another person with Christa caught Colleen and pushed her to the ground. Christa and the other person, who Christa referred to as he, held Colleen down until she stopped struggling, then dragged her to another area where Colleen cut her stomach with a box cutter. Christa cut Colleen's stomach with a box cutter. As Colleen screamed and screamed, Christa recounted how she began to hear voices telling her that she had to do something to prevent Colleen from telling on her and sending her to prison for attempted murder.
So murder's better. Yes.
Apparently. Murder is better than attempted murder.
Also, do we ever find out who these people are that are helping?
Yeah, it was the people that walked with her, Tadaryl and
okay. But do
Shadolla.
they get prosecuted then?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I just need to know this because like she's trying to be all vague about it, and it's like you can't tell me she's the only one that's about to get nailed for this.
No. At this point, Christa said she was just looking at Colleen and just watching her bleed. When Colleen rolled over, stood up, and tried to run away again, Christa cut her back. The big long cut on her back, she was quoted saying. Christa said Colleen repeatedly tried to get up and run. Christa recounted how Colleen bargained for her life, begging Christa to talk to her and telling Christa that if she would just let her go, she would walk back to her home in Florida without returning to the Job Corps facility for her belongings. Christa told Slemmer to shut up because it was harder for her to hurt somebody when they're talking to you.
Well, damn. I don't know, bitch. If you're gonna do the big girl crime there, I mean, I guess don't be a coward and you know, I'm gonna keep talking, look at you in the face, whatever. I'm hoping that Colleen put up some kind of a fight. I really do.
Yeah.
It sounds like there was a struggle, obviously, but she was outnumbered. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah, it was 3 against 1.
Yeah.
Christa said the more Colleen talked, the more she kicked her in the face. Colleen
kick her in the face.
I know. Colleen asked Christa what she was going to do to her, at which point Christa thought she heard a noise. Christa left the scene to check out the surrounding area to make sure no one was around. When she returned, Christa began cutting Colleen across the throat. When Colleen continued to talk and beg for her life, Christa cut her throat several other times. Christa said that Colleen continued to talk and tried to sit up even though her throat had been cut several times, and that Christa and the other person would push her back on the ground. I mean, she's really resilient. After all that she's going through and she's still trying to get up, I can't imagine.
And my brain's over here thinking, like, what sick fucks, man.
I know.
Somebody getting up, trying to beg for their life, and you're pushing them back down.
Mm-hmm. Colleen attempted to run away again, and Christa threw a rock, which hit Colleen in the back of the head. Christa stated that the other person also hit Colleen in the head with a rock. Fell to the ground. Christa continued to hit her. Eventually, Christa said she could hear Colleen breathing blood in and out, and she could see Colleen jerking, but Christa kept hitting her and hitting her and hitting her. Christa eventually asked, "Colleen, do you know who's doing this to you?" Colleen's only response was groaning noises. At this point, Christa said she and the other person each grabbed one of Colleen's feet and dragged her to an area near some trees, leaving her body on a pile of dirt and debris. They left Colleen's clothing in the surrounding bushes. Christa said the episode lasted for about 30 minutes to an hour. That's how long they tortured her.
That's terrible. I couldn't imagine.
No. Christa admitted that she and the other person had forced the victim to remove her blouse and bra during the incident to keep her from running away. Christa also admitted that she had removed a rag from her hair and tied it around Slemmer's mouth at one point to prevent her from talking. Christa denied carving a pentagram in the victim's chest and said that the other person had done that.
Yeah, sure.
After disposing of Colleen's body, Christa and the other person washed their hands and shoes in a mud puddle. They discarded the box cutter, and Christa returned the miniature meat cleaver to the person at Job Corps from whom she borrowed it.
Wow.
Yeah, here's your box cutter, or here's your meat cleaver back all covered in blood.
Yeah, thanks for letting me use this to commit a crime.
Christa never identified that individual. She told investigator York that the blood-stained jeans she had worn during the incident were still in her room. She said they were covered in mud because she had rubbed the mud from the bottom of her shoes onto the jeans to conceal the blood. Christa also admitted to investigator York that she had discarded 2 forms of identification belonging to Colleen and Colleen's black gloves in a trash can at a Texaco station on Cumberland Avenue. Christa gave investigator York consent to search her room and then accompanied him to the Job Corps Center. From there, Christa retraced her steps, describing what had occurred on the night of the killing. Investigator York testified that Christa eventually directed him to the exact location where the victim's body was found. After Christa's statement was played for the jury, the state introduced pictures of Christa and Shipp taken at the Knoxville Police Department on the day the statement was given, January 14, 1995, 2 days after the murder. In the picture, both Christa and Shipp were wearing pentagram necklaces. Mark A. Wagoner, an officer with the Knoxville Police Department, testified that he had retrieved a pair of black gloves and 2 of Slemmer's ID cards from the Texaco station on Cumberland Avenue. These items were also made exhibits during court. Another officer, Lanny Janeway, used a chart to illustrate each of the locations where blood evidence was found. Photographs of bloody chunks of asphalt, blood drippings on leaves, and pools of blood were introduced into evidence. The bloody piece of asphalt and the victim's bloody clothing were also introduced into evidence. Special Agent Raymond A. DePriest, a forensic scientist employed by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, testified he had received blood samples taken from the shoes and clothing of Christa and Shipp, and the DNA analysis taken from those did match Colleen's. Dr. Sandra Elkins, the Knox County medical examiner, performed the autopsy on Colleen, on the victim, who was later identified by dental records as Colleen Slemmer, a 19-year-old Job Corps student. Dr. Elkins described the victim's body as covered with dirt and twigs. Colleen was nude from the waist up and clothed only with jeans, socks, and shoes. After removing the victim's clothing and cleaning the body, Dr. Elkins had attempted to catalog the slash and stab wounds on the victim's torso by assigning a letter of the alphabet. There were so many wounds that eventually Dr. Elkins decided to catalog only the most serious and major wounds. Dr. Elkins explained that to catalog every wound, she would have been required to go through the alphabet again and stay in the morgue for, quote, 3 more days.
Wow.
Eventually, Dr. Elkins said she basically threw up her hands and just said innumerable more slash wounds on the back, arms, and chest. Like she couldn't even count them all.
Torture. Like they just tortured this poor girl.
In addition, Dr. Elkins said the victim had purple contusions on her knees, indicating fresh bruising consistent with crawling and defensive wounds on her right arm. Dr. Elkins described the major slash and stab wounds she had cataloged on the victim's back, arms, abdomen, and chest. She found a 6-inch gaping wound across the middle of the victim's neck, which had penetrated the fat and muscles of the neck. In addition, Dr. Elkins had found 10 other slash wounds on the victim's throat. Other slash wounds were on the victim's face, and Dr. Elkins observed what appeared to be a pentagram carved onto the victim's chest. Because the area around each wound was red in appearance, Dr. Elkins concluded that the victim's heart had been beating when the wounds were inflicted. And she said the victim would not have been rendered unconscious by any of the stab or slash wounds.
Yeah, so torture. Literally. She was awake for all of it.
Yeah. Dr. Elkins determined that the victim's death was caused by blunt force injuries to the head. The victim had suffered multiple and extensive skull fractures. From the autopsy, Dr. Elkins determined that the victim had sustained a minimum of 4 blows to her head, 2 to the left side of her head, 1 over her right eye, and 1 over in the nose area. The right frontal area of the victim's skull had been fractured, as had the bridge of her nose. However, the major wound labeled as injury W involved most of the left side of the victim's head. Dr. Elkins said that this injury caused by blunt force to the left side of the victim's head, while the right side of the victim's head was against a firm surface, also had fractured the right side of the skull and embedded a portion of the skull into the victim's brain. Dr. Elkins found small divots in the victim's skull containing black particles from an asphalt chunk, which was later determined to have been used to administer the blows. Finally, Dr. Elkins testified that blood in the victim's sinus cavity indicated she had been alive and probably conscious when the injuries were inflicted. During her testimony, Dr. Elkins utilized the victim's skull to describe the injuries. She testified that in order to determine the cause of death, it was necessary to remove the head of the victim and have the skull prepared by Dr. Murray Marks, a forensic anthropologist at the University of Tennessee. She explained that she had removed the top of the victim's skull in order to remove the brain. Embedded inside the victim's brain, as a result of the blunt force, were portions of the victim's skull. Dr. Elkins removed those embedded pieces and forwarded them to Dr. Marks. Dr. Marks reconstructed the skull, fitting those loose portions into the left area of the skull. However, those pieces had not completely filled one area on the left side of the victim's skull. Dr. Elkins then showed the jury a piece of skull that had been given to her shortly before the trial and demonstrated that it fit perfectly into the remaining area of the victim's skull. The piece of skull was utilized by Dr. Elkins and had been taken from the pocket of a jacket which witnesses identify as belonging to Christa. So that was the piece of skull she was talking about having, that she took from the scene.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much a puzzle piece that fit into place to say, bitch, you're guilty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dr. Eric Engum, a clinical psychologist, testified for the defense, and he stated that he had conducted a clinical interview and had administered a battery of tests to Christa. Dr. Engum described Christa as an extremely bright young woman. He explained that Christa is excellent in problem-solving, reasoning, analysis, can pay attention, sustains concentration, can sequence, has excellent receptive and expressive language skills, end quote. Christa had a full-scale IQ score of 111, which is in the 77th percentile, and which was characterized as remarkable by Dr. Engum since she had only completed the 9th grade. According to Dr. Engum, the tests unequivocally showed that Christa had no symptoms of brain damage and that she was not insane. However, Dr. Engum concluded that Christa suffers from a very severe borderline personality disorder and exhibits signs of cannabis dependence and inhalant abuse. He testified that Christa is not so dysfunctional that she needs to be institutionalized, but instead opined that she has a multiplicity of problems in interpersonal relationships, in controlling her behavior, and in achieving vocational and academic goals. During direct examination, Dr. Engum opined that Christa had not acted with deliberation or premeditation in killing Colleen. Instead, he said she had acted in a manner consistent with his diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. She had lost control.
No, she got a meat cleaver.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
Yep,
You
she was
can't.
planning to do something.
Something. Yeah. Who carries a meat cleaver around? I'm not even gonna
Right.
pick on the box cutter because I know people who carry box cutters around. Okay, like especially for work or whatever, a box cutter in your
Mm-hmm.
pocket. We won't even like touch on that. A meat cleaver. Get the fuck out of here.
I know. Who carries a meat cleaver?
Yeah.
He explained that she had danced around when relating the murder to Iloilo because of the emotional release she experienced from having assured through the killing of Colleen that she could maintain her relationship with Shipp. When questioned about the piece of skull found in Christa's coat, Dr. Engum explained that Christa actually has no identity, and the action of taking and displaying a piece of Colleen's skull to her friends was Christa's way of getting recognition, no matter how distorted the recognition. On cross-examination, Dr. Engum said that there was no question that Christa had killed Slemmer. He reiterated that in his opinion that once the attack began, Christa had literally lost control. However, Dr. Engum admitted that Christa had deliberately enticed Colleen to the park, carved a pentagram onto Colleen's chest, bashed her head against the concrete, and beaten her head with the asphalt. Dr. Engum agreed that Christa's act of carrying weapons with her indicates deliberation. Finally, Dr. Engum concluded that Christa had time to calm down and consider her actions when she left Slemmer during the attack to investigate a noise and determine whether anyone else was in the area. So interesting how he's for the defense, but then he's also like, yeah, she did this.
Well, also, pointing out like she had time to like sit there and like change her mind. This was a 30 minutes to an hour attack. They had plenty of time to
Yeah.
sit there and stop and like abandon ship here of like what they were
Yeah.
doing. So,
Yep. Any of them, but none of
yep,
them did that.
yep.
A Knox County jury found Christa guilty of premeditated first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The jury further found two statutory aggravating circumstances. One, the murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel in that it involved torture or serious physical abuse beyond that necessary to produce death. And two, the murder was committed for the purpose of avoiding, interfering with, or preventing a lawful arrest or prosecution of the defendant or another. The jury found that these two aggravating circumstances outweighed mitigating circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. The jury then sentenced Christa Gail Pike to death. And I'm going to screen share a little clip of her reaction to her sentencing.
It is therefore ordered that you shall be put to death by electrocution in the mode prescribed by law, and that you shall be transferred to the custody of the warden at the Tennessee Prison for Women. And further, on the 12th day of January 1997, your body shall be subjected to shock by a sufficient current of electricity. Oh God, have mercy upon you. Mr. Bates, take Mr. Pike into the house.
Can I please have my mom before I go?
Mr. Bates, please hold Miss Pike in the dock.
Please, let me just love my mom.
Please hold Miss Pike in the dock.
Oh, I love you. I love you too. I love you too.
Well, first off, Colleen, I'm sure, was crying plenty for her fucking life, and Christa didn't give a goddamn. So, go take those tears elsewhere, Colleen. Fuck you. Or Christa, I mean, fuck you. See, now I'm mixing them up too.
Yeah, I know.
And also begging to hug your mother. Christa, Colleen never gets to hug her mother, and her mother never gets to hug her again. So, fuck you for thinking that you just, that you deserve one last hug of your mother. No.
Yeah, quit crying, bitch. You did the crime, you're doing the time.
Yeah, go rot in your cell until they kill you by state whenever they get to it, if they ever get to it.
Yeah. And I don't know if you caught that in the video. It also said that she was going to be sentenced to death on, I think it said January 12th, 1997. She's still alive.
I know, yeah, like that means nothing. They always,
Yeah.
I don't know if they do have to give a date or whatever, but no, they never, yeah.
Yeah. Christa has had multiple failed appeal attempts, luckily.
I bet she did try.
Mm-hmm. And there is actually a brand new update in this case. On September 30th, 2025, the Tennessee Supreme Court set a date for her to be executed. The order granted a scheduling request from the state for the death warrant to be carried out September 30th, 2026 at the Riverbend Maximum Security Institution in Nashville, Tennessee, which houses a majority of Tennessee's death row inmates. So she will be killed in less than a year.
Did you look at Tennessee does actively carry out death sentences?
Mm-hmm.
They do? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then hell yeah, let's mark the calendar, baby. September 30th next year.
Yep.
We're gonna a live
watch party.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, I
it's
hope
warranted though.
Yes, it is, and I hope that they Tennessee State holds up their end of the bargain here of their prosecution and do what they say they're going to do. I mean, she's been alive for how long, and this has been how long?
Mm-hmm. Right. Under the terms of the Supreme Court order, the prison warden is obligated to notify Pike of the method that the Department of Correction will use to execute her by August 28, 2026. Condemned inmates in Tennessee usually die by lethal injection, the state's default execution method, but electrocution, which, while outdated, is technically also authorized as an alternative that inmates can choose as long as they committed a capital crime before January 1st, 1999, which she would fall
because
into.
if you heard, in her sentencing, it says by electrocution, by electric chair, that she would be executed, yeah.
Yeah. Christa Pike is one of the youngest women to be sentenced to death in the United States and will be the first woman executed in Tennessee in more than 200 years.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a bad egg.
Yeah, that's a bad egg.
There was no reason for that overkill. I don't care what the situation was behind it. And in this case, it was literally nothing.
It was literally nothing.
Someone waved at your boyfriend. Boo-hoo.
Yeah. That's tells me how insecure that little relationship was.
Right. Tadaryl Shipp was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, plus 25 years. And he was actually just declined parole in October due to the seriousness of the offense. And it said the board is scheduled to review his case again in October of 2031. So at least he's still behind bars.
Yeah, I'll give it that, yeah.
And Shadolla Peterson was also charged in connection with the crime, but she received probation after becoming an informant.
Oh, girlfriend gotta die with those secrets. She'll probably never admit how much she was involved.
Yeah. And I don't know how much she participated either. I don't know if she just stood there and watched. It sounds like it was mostly Christa and Tadaryl, but I'm sure, she was there. I'm sure she did something.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Yeah, that's the horrible murder of Colleen Slemmer.
That's fucked, man.
Yeah.
Young. I know they're adult age, but 19. They're still kids.
Yeah. And to carry a piece of her skull as a souvenir and show people and tell them about it.
And then that's your reaction when you're surprised you get the death sentence, bitch. Fuck out of here.
Right, and you're gonna
now
cry
that I see
over
what
it?
she looks like, it was not what I was picturing.
Right. Yeah. That big 80s hair.
Yeah. Pictured her running around with la piece of human skull in her pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Snap you like a twig, girlfriend.
Yeah.
Glad you're in prison.
Yeah, I hope you're rotting and miserable every day until you die next year.
Yep. Terrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, her poor mom. Like, I
Yeah,
can't imagine learning what your daughter went through.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. That was brutal. You warned us. I'll
Yeah,
give
I
you
did.
that.
I
You
did.
did. I'll give you that.
Your discretion was definitely advised on this one.
Well, with that one, I hope you tune into the next one.
Yeah, please do. They won't all be this brutal.
No. These stories need told too, though.
They
Poor
do, though.
Colleen. I
People need to know
never,
what's happening out there.
yeah, I never heard that name or
Mm-mm.
anything. So we need to tell these stories, no matter how brutal they are. You can always skip ahead if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, make like a shadow and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at.
Lurking in the Shadows podcast.
Check us out on TikTok at.
Lurking in the Shadows pod.
Any questions, concerns, or case suggestions, shoot us a Gmail at.
Lurking in the Shadows podcast at gmail.com. And keep lurking around for our next episode. Bye.
Bye.